Good morrow. Welcome to the Grady Isles Art Channel. Last week, we built a frame, and I told you that you could use that frame to stretch a canvas. This week, we're going to do the stretching of the canvas and gesso. So stay tuned. You may recognize this from last week. So, I have my frame already. That's fantastic. I have my canvas. The canvas is an old sheet. And you're wondering, why in the world would you use an old sheet? Because I'm cheap, and I've done a few paintings on sheets, and I like sheet better than canvas. Canvas is very rough, and when you put gesso on it, that's what makes it smooth. It still doesn't make it smooth. You have to put a lot of gesso on to make it smooth. So this is free. So I'm using that. All right, let's get to stapling. Okay, got my stapler. 5/16 staples. Actually, I think they're quarter. Okay, so I'm gonna use a lot of material here. So always use a lot of material. Right now, I'm just gonna, like so. Oh, better make sure it doesn't go through. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to stretch this direction from the middle. I'm gonna reach right over here. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm gonna stretch this, stretch from here. Okay, I'm gonna leave the corner. I'm not gonna hit that yet. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go to the other side. I'm gonna pull that. I'm gonna pull it tight. Not super tight. I mean, it's sheet. It's, it can rip. Now, you're gonna see these in there. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get those out later. Now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna stretch it like that. Well, I'm gonna pull it this way too. So I'm pulling all these out, and I'm also going to pull it this direction. See how that made that smooth? Okay, so I'm gonna pull. This is why I use lots of material, because you have to be able to pull it. Okay. happy with that? Okay, let's go to this. Notice I didn't pull a lot this direction, okay? So you can see the brownness of it. I did pull a little, but I want to be able to pull this back like that, okay? So I'm just going to go straight to that. So I'm going to go side to side from now on. I'm going to put those staples about 2 inches apart for now, because I might want to stretch some more in between. So let's say you're doing a big one of these. And a sheet, by the way, is perfect for really big stuff because it's hard to find big canvas. So let's say you're doing a big one of these. Remember, you have to have boards that go in between here, okay? So this is a perfect way to do this. You really don't want your boards against the sheet or the canvas. You want them riding up here, okay? To keep this thing, when you get a big canvas, these things bow, okay? Side to side, same thing, okay? So you're gonna have to put all this structure in here. A lot of guys do it this direction, that's fine. You can do it that way, okay? All right. So, as you can see, this thing's almost done already. From here, I've got to flip it over because I want these corners to be, I'm going to flip it over because I want these corners to be looking really nice. Okay? So, I'm going to bunch this up. I'm going to put one right here in this corner. Now I'm going to go the other direction. Look. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to fold it, and I want that seam to be right on the corner. Like that. Don't worry, you can put a staple up here. Okay. I don't really like doing that, but you can. All right, how's that corner look? Oh, nice. Okay. See what I'm saying? Always leave yourself enough material. Somehow, I think this is where I started, over here on this side. And I didn't leave enough material. You should leave like a couple more inches so I can grab it and stretch it. Ouch! Pinched my hand. Stupid stapler. No, where was that? See if I can not do that again. Unpleasant. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Look at that. Something about that my stapler did not like. Ooh, I have no idea what's going on here. Weird. I always thought this was like the best stapler I've ever seen. I'm trying to, I'm thinking I might rethink my stance on that. Ooh, look at that. Okay, now all I have to do is cut off the excess. Ooh, I bet you that's satisfying for somebody. So yeah, when you're painting on this sheet, you're going to be thanking me because it really is a fantastic thing. These are like the 300 count. See how loose that is? Okay. See here? Loose. Poltergeist. When we put gesso on it, it's going to tighten that up. So let's get some gesso going. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but gesso is pretty easy to make. I don't need very much because this is a small project. So I don't really have a good recipe for you. It's water and glue. It's regular old school glue. All-purpose glue. Has a cow on it. I like that. And plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris is pretty nice because it has good, it's very fine. Just gonna stir this with a brush. So you're saying, well, can I use anything else to make my gesso with? Absolutely. I would just use polyacrylic if you didn't have anything else. Polyacrylic is it's like a sealer. And you don't have to put anything in it. You could put plaster of Paris in it if you wanted. But it's basically glue. And so yeah, it would work just fine. Let's see here. How's this look? Oh, it's looking pretty good. I don't know if I have enough. Now, I could put white paint in there if I wanted it to be whiter. I don't really care because yeah, when I'm painting something, I'm just going to I want to add color to it anyway. See how this is all like loose? It'll tighten right up. Oh, I didn't make near enough. Oh, I need about, I don't know, 3 times that much. So anyway, I'm trying to cut down on expenses because doing art can be expensive. I put about the same amount of plaster of Paris in there as I would glue, basically. It's the same amounts. And water too. See how thin it is? I don't know if you can see that. Okay. I hope that's enough. Need to do those edges too. All right. So I know the video is getting boring. It's okay. I will shut it off and come back later when this thing is dry. How about that? That won't be so boring. Now, when I store this, before I turn that off, I'm going to store it this direction. I'm going to lean it up against something. See how it goes? If I lean it this direction, all this will show up and it'll dry that way. I'll never get it out. Okay? Especially on big paintings. Because the big painting, you're going to have a bigger border. Like that thing will be like 3 inches wide. And it'll be sticking out in your painting and you'll be like, this thing's garbage. And you'll want to throw it away. Okay? So, you have to store it like that. You have to lean it up against something. All right? Okay, we'll be back. So, it's the next day. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this. it does not look flat to me. It looks like there's wrinkles in it. Let's tight. Okay, so tight as a drum. I think it's the plaster of Paris that makes it do that. So I'm going to try. Okay, so this is what I did. The course that I was taking did not work. It kind of didn't flatten out because I think it wasn't warm enough. So what I did is I used more glue, more plaster of Paris, and I soaked the sheet in a bucket of this stuff. It's kind of expensive to do. Now I need more glue. By the way, I'm using a ton of glue, which is expensive, and I don't like that. So, I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to use cornstarch. Seems to be the method, maybe. I don't know. But you can see, there's even weird spots where like you can see it. You can see the plaster of Paris sort of didn't really mix well with the water and glue mixture. Anyway, redoing it. I also wanted to show you guys the other thing that I did not like, and that is once you get the sheet wet and you try to stretch it, it becomes very easy to rip. So it ripped in a few places. You know, it didn't rip where I first did it. This is the first place that I tightened it. In the second place is the third over here. But then when I got to this last part, it started ripping in weird little places. So, and it also did, of course, when it rips, it doesn't lay down nice. Anyway, there's mistakes to look out for. So I would like to show you a problem that I had with putting gesso on a new canvas. Okay, so this is a painting I did years ago. And there's a spot, and it's right here. You can see there's a line. There is the edge of that frame. And you can see that there's a line there, one on top. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep that from happening. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to wet the canvas first with water. I'm going to stretch the canvas with water. Then I'm going to put gesso on while it's wet. And we'll see what happens. This is why I paint on wood a lot, because I don't really like canvas. So, I've got my frame, reclaimed it. All right, so what I did before was I actually soaked the canvas, which is just a sheet, in the gesso. And then I tried to stretch it on here. So this time I'm gonna do it a little different. And by the way, it did work. It was very messy to work with. I don't like that because, yeah, I don't like messy things. When my paint can is open and I gotta close that. I have made new gesso. This has paint in it. by the way, that paint is awesome. It just makes it all fantastic. Cornstarch, a little bit of glue. I like that there's only a little bit of glue in there because it's expensive. All this stuff is expensive. Man, you just don't want to be spending all this money all the time on glue and different things. So this time, I'm gonna try to just put this canvas on here wet. Should be interesting, okay? So I'm gonna do the same process as before. One here, stretch it. I've also found that these sheets, they will absolutely tear on you if you stretch them too hard. So beware. The point to gesso is that when it dries, it should stretch things for you a little bit. Ah. Look at that. I didn't pull it this way far enough. I think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Look at that. Dirt. I suppose I could show you this corner a little better. So I'm going to pull this up. See there? And I'm going to try to line it up with that edge. See that? What's that? Okay. Okay. Problem I was having before was that when I put the gesso on, the canvas sagged because it was dry. Hopefully now that it's wet, it won't sag. But see this? See how this is indenting like that? That's a problem. A problem that you wouldn't have with regular canvas, I think. Although I've had that problem before. I don't know why I don't know why I think that. Hopefully when this dries, or as it dries, it will tighten up because of the glue and the paint. See, as I'm pushing on this, it's stretching. And I don't like that. I really thought that wetting it down would be the key. I can see now that I'm gonna have issues. Unless I can get it to dry fast, maybe I'll put it in the house. See, on YouTube, there's some people that gesso the back. I think that's probably not a bad idea. What is this? Garbage. Okay, and I can see now why they do it. It's to get these, they probably gesso the back so that these lines don't show up. Once you put that gesso on there, it should get stiff. All right, so now this is what I'm gonna do. It's all gessoed up. See that line right there? I'm trying to get those lines out of there. All right, so it's all gessoed up. I'll probably have to put another layer on here. But I'm gonna try to let this dry, and I'm gonna try to put it in the house where it's warm, because it's like 60 degrees out here. And I'm gonna store it like this, straight up and down. So this is how I'm gonna store it for now. I really don't want this thing in the house. But you can see there's issues. Like, look at this great big thing. Like, what? And that's just from pushing on it with the brush. And it seems to have a problem both directions. In other words, I put the brush on the back here, and pushed on it a little bit too hard, and it stretched that fabric. Well, maybe this fabric is too stretchy. Don't know. I have to figure something out. Next time next time I try this, maybe I will stretch it on a piece of plywood, do my gesso, let it dry. Problem with that is that it may stick to the plywood. Maybe I'll put a piece of paper underneath it, and then apply the gesso, stretch it, and then I will take it off the plywood and stretch it on the frame. That way, I won't have to deal with all this stupidness. It's so bad. Does no one else ever have this problem? I've had this problem every time I stretch the canvas, every time. Maybe it's just me. Okay, this is what we have. Wow, it came out pretty nice. So if I was gonna do this again, see this? See that cut I put in there for, you know, if you're going to put a painting in here and you're actually going to make this into a frame, I would have put the canvas on this side because there's less for the canvas to get screwed up. So this line always causes a problem. The other thing I could probably have done is chamfered it with my table saw. It's a lot more work, a lot more time to do that. But this is a lot of time also. But anyway, there you go. That's just a sheet. It was free. Before I paint on this, I will put some polyacrylic I'll put polyacrylic on here. And in fact, I don't know why you can't use polyacrylic for the gesso. There's no reason not to. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. So there you go, canvas with gesso. Thanks for watching. See you next week.